these longer videos where I could talk about more teams and more players all in one. I really appreciate your feedback on that, and that's awesome because I love making these. We did something similar to this in September where I picked a new captain for every team, but today it's going to be specifically for teams without a captain, basically trying to predict the next one. I'm going to tell you who I think gets chosen based off the current roster and who I believe should be chosen. Keeping in mind, some of these might stay.
Alrighty, first I'm going to give my opinion. I'm going to give who I think should be captain. New captain, Connor Bedard, Chicago Blackhawks, 2024-2025 season prediction. Alrighty, there you go. Connor Bedard. There you go. Steven Stamkos, Nashville Predators, captain, season 2024-2025 prediction. I'm going to keep saying stuff like that, okay? Which probably would annoy everyone watching this, but the reason why I'm doing this is if I'm correct, then I want the record books to see that I predicted something correctly. Like how I said Connor Bedard should be named the next great one, and they used my name. They used it. They used the name, the next great one. Look back in the records. Look back in the between the episode 50 of the radio show and episode 100 or 120. There you go. I can't believe I've done over 300 of these. And it's going to come to an end. 300 videos of this series. I have like over 700 videos. And there's a person with like 2 million. I'm coming for your record. Eventually, hopefully, I get that. I want to know who has the most in the YouTube gang. But anyway, let's talk about hockey. Victor Edmond, Tampa Bay Lightning, captain, 2024-2025 season prediction. Who got Jake Getsel? What team is Jake Getsel on? What team is Jake Getsel on? Alrighty, I know it's not the Pittsburgh Penguins. How do you spell Getsel? Getsel. Jake Getsel. What team does Jake Getsel play for? Tampa Bay Lightning. Alrighty. Bobrovsky. No, I'm kidding. Bobrovsky wouldn't be, That's all for my predictions.
Might stay vacant until somebody who's not on the team yet pops in. Think of McDavid dropping into Edmonton's second year, gets the C on his chest. And of course, I want to know your picks in the comments. Let's get into it. Starting off with Anaheim, it's a bit of a tricky one because where's the franchise philosophy here? Do they want to hand the keys to a kid who's going to be there for a long time with leadership potential and allow him to grow into the role? You got it for a long time, set it and forget it, basically. Or similar to what Calgary just did, a vet who's been there for a long time. He's been through the ups and downs, knows the community, the market, and have more of a stopgap situation.
It's going to be Trevor Zegras. Isn't Trevor Zegras on the Anaheim Ducks? Yeah, he's on Anaheim. Number 11. He's going to be their captain once again.
age and to give more time to those kids to really grow into
Be
and mature into those
interesting
leadership
if
roles. If they do decide to go
Trevor-
with option 2, it's got to be Cam Fowler.
Trevor,
He's been a leader on that team forever.
Trevor
He's their King
Zegras
Clancy
gets
nominee
traded.
for this past year. He's persevered through injuries and he stayed a good player basically the whole time. He's got 2 years left on his contract, which is a good timeline if you want to give the kids more time, and they'd get to see from him how to be an NHL captain. It's a solid idea. For some reason, I think they're going to go the other route. I think it'll be Mason McTavish. This guy seems to exude that leadership energy. We saw it at the World Juniors, and honestly, since he's been in the league, I know he hasn't put up elite numbers, but he really strikes me as...
I don't think McTavish... I don't think he's ready. I honestly don't think he is ready for the captaincy. Captaincy. Honestly. So no, I don't think he will be. Cover I claim.
me is that Ryan O'Reilly type two-way centerman who can really set the tone for the team and honestly just set an example. He's going to be an RFA real soon, but as soon as that gets sorted out, to me, he's the choice. I could definitely see Troy Terry being in the mix here too, big time. But ultimately, I think it goes to McTavish. I think if Fowler was going to be the captain, he would have been named already. But hey, this league never ceases to surprise me, so I guess we never know. So if it was me, especially if it was picked going into this season, I would go with Fowler, but I think the franchise is going to go with McTavish. In Buffalo, I'll be real with you, there's some temptation to pick Alex Tuck. He's from Syracuse, grew up a Sabres fan. He went in there so ecstatic and so proud to be a Sabre, and since he's got there, he seemed to really relish the role of being a leader on that team. Plus, he's still a really good player with a lot of experience. It's tempting, but unlike places like Anaheim, where maybe it's a good thing for the kids to kind of cook a little bit more as leaders, I think Rasmus Dahlin is ready here, man. I mean, he signed that huge deal coming into last season. He's committed to the city and the franchise for 8 more years. He's in the prime of his career as an elite defenseman, and he also definitely seems mature enough to take on that role. Like, I think he's the clear choice here. Honorable mentions to Tuck and to Tage Thompson, but I think 26 is the pick on this one. Oh, Chicago's a really interesting one. Look, I've talked about this a bunch. I brought it up a few videos ago and in the captain video from December. I'm sure you guys are tired of me explaining over and over again why I'm on the Nick Foligno train on this one. I'm gonna Cliff Notes it for you guys like I did for Hamlet in grade 12. Foligno has extensive leadership experience, and it seems like he's already put his foot in the door in that way in Chicago. It also seems like that's a big part of the reason why Kyle Davidson and the crew brought him into Chicago in the first place. Plus, it would give Bedard, who just turned 19 a few days ago, by the way, an extra year or two to learn from guys like Foligno and just in general learn how to become a leader in the NHL. Because it's one thing to be a captain in the dub where basically everyone's a teenager, to now being a leader of a team with grown men on it who some of them have been in the league for over a decade and are making millions of dollars with kids and families when he can't even legally go out for pops in the US for another 2 years. And that's not a slight on Bedard. The kid's a rock star. I think he's awesome. I just think it might be beneficial, and there's no issue with putting an A on that jersey, at least for a year or two, instead of the heavy pressure that comes with that C. That being said, I do think they're going to give it to him. Question is, do they give it to him at 19 like they did with Crosby, Taves, McDavid, or do they leave it vacant for one more year? Seattle's a puzzling one to me. That's still wild, I find, that Mark Giordano's the first ever captain in Kraken history, even though he only held it for like 4 months. That's going to be a really interesting trivia question answer one day. I thought about Yanni Gourde, but he's a pending UFA and he's 33. Brandon Tanev, Jaden Schwartz, Adam Larson also crossed my mind. Really, to me, it boils down to 3 guys: Vince Dunn, Jared McCann, and Jordan Eberle. I know Eberle's getting up there in age for hockey player standards. Like, you know how there's dog years? Well, there's hockey player years too. Except in beer league, those 55 plus leagues where guys are still zipping around like superstars, I aspire to be even half as good as some of those guys at that age. He did just sign an extension with the Kraken, so he's definitely in the mix here, but I do think it's going to come down to either Dunn or McCann, 2 of the top players for the franchise. They're both in the primes of their careers, basically the sweet spot of having quite a bit of experience in the league, but also having a lot of good years left and being in their athletic primes. Both are signed until 2027. In December, I chose Dunn, but it's definitely more of a toss-up for me right now. I'm actually probably leaning a bit more towards McCann. I think Jared McCann is...
Seattle's just got to do a rebuild. I hope they're on a rebuild. If they're not on a rebuild, what are you doing? Grab some like Allmark, some Swayman, some good old Bobrovsky, like grab some good goalies, grab like Victor Edmond and like Stamkos, like Steven Stamkos. Stamkos
put the C on his
trade.
chest right away,
That'd
just
be an
because the
awesome
fans still
trade,
seem
and
pretty
you
upset
get
about
like
how
Jake
that all went down, and
Getzel and
Stamkos
like
is such a
all
legendary
kinds of
figure for that
players like
market
Kel
and means so
McCarr,
much to that fan base. Hedman even
And,
talked about that in his
improve your
most recent press
defense
conference
and
for his new extension.
offense
But
and
even with guys like Point and Kucherov on that
goaltender.
roster, I still think it should and will be
And
Victor
net.
Hedman. And lastly, for Utah, TJ Ginla. Nah, I'm just kidding. For now, anyways, my top three would be Lawson Krause, Sean Dursey, and Clayton Keller. Keller, I think, is a great pick, but similar to Fowler and Anaheim, I mean, OEL's been gone for a while there, and Keller's been the
I think McGinley's gonna get it. That's my prediction. What's yours? Please leave it in the comments below if you like this video and if you enjoy hockey content, if you're a if you're an upcoming hockey fan, a current hockey fan, a long-time supporter, or a short-time supporter. Please like and subscribe for more content like this. Go check out the NHL Picks of the Month series. And
been the face of the franchise, so if they were going to make him captain, I feel like it would have happened by
and
now. But
eventually,
hey, new city, new market, new fan base.
and I'll see you
My pick here, though, was Lawson
in
Krause.
the
He just seems like one of those heart and
next
soul type guys. He seems like a great
video.
stand-up dude. He's also super
And
well-spoken
the
in the media.
outro's
I
not
was
going to
really
roll
impressed with how he handled
because
speaking
it's
on
not
behalf
the
of
end
the
of the
players when
actual
that whole
video.
situation
This
went down near the end of
reaction,
the season.
so
Also,
yeah.
it seems like he's already a pretty big leader on that team. He's a good player who can score and be physical. He's got years left on his contract, and he's in that sweet spot of age. That's who I would go with, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being Keller. That'll do for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more like this, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe. They're fun to make. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're having a
Like,
good
subscribe,
summer. I'll see you
comment
in the
down
next one.
below,
You're
and
awesome.
I'll see you in the next radio show if we get another radio show. Hopefully we don't, yeah. I mean, hopefully we don't end it at this point.